Hey there guys, so last night I watched Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers. As always guys, I'm going to give you my positives and my negatives on the movie, so let's jump straight in. Let's start talking Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers. Halloween 4 was released in 1988, a decade after the original movie. Now, as I said in my last review, the original idea for the Halloween movies was kind of have a new story every year. Now, unfortunately, there was huge backlash when Halloween 3 was released and it didn't have Michael Myers. As well as that, with the rise of slasher films at the time with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street having quite successful runs with their sequels, Mustafa Akkad decided to bring Michael Myers back to the big screen another time. And Halloween 4 also has a return of Donald Pleasence taking on the role of Dr. Loomis again. Unfortunately, Jamie Lee Curtis sits this one out. Instead, we get the introduction of Danielle Harris, who takes on the role of Jamie Lloyd, Laurie's daughter from the original movies. And that would definitely be my first positive with this movie is Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd. So normally for a movie or even a TV series, when you have a child as the lead character or actress in the film, it can get quite irritating. So the child itself could be quite bratty, they can get quite annoying as the movie goes on. But that doesn't really happen for Jamie in this film. You do genuinely care for her character. She gets bullied in school because her uncle is the boogeyman, and even the moments where she's being chased by Michael, the actress who plays her does a phenomenal job for her age, and you do really believe what's happening. As well as that, when you pair her with Dr. Loomis in this one, he's kind of there to protect her. He is there to make sure she's okay, a little bit more than what he did in the first two movies with Laurie Strode. He has a lot more interaction with her than he did with Jamie Lee Curtis in the first two movies. She also has a sister in this one, so Ellie Cornell takes on the role of Rachel, who's Jamie's half-sister in the movie. And for me, she is kind of a prototype of Jamie Lee Curtis from the first two movies. She kind of is there as that babysitter type character that's there to protect the children, and she does that in droves in this movie. I absolutely love the character of Rachel in this. She fights with everything she has to protect her little sister from Michael Myers. Another positive, guys, I would give to this one is just the feel and the look of the film. So out of all of the Halloween films in total, this is probably the closest we get to the Halloween type vibe. Even the way this one is directed, it's very warm colors they have in this. In the original, we had very dark colors. It was like a blue tint over that as well. With this one, we get oranges and we get reds, we get fall leaves, we get kids trick-or-treating throughout the entire movie, so it does feel a lot more like Halloween. And that carries through the entire film. Like in the original Halloween, we saw a few kids trick-or-treating. In this one, you constantly see Jamie out with her friends trick-or-treating. You see her looking for costumes throughout the day. Even Rachel, when she interacts with her friends in this one, she interacts with her boyfriend Brady. It's in a Halloween costume shop. So I like that little part of it, that it made you feel like this was Halloween Day. So that Halloween vibe, that sense that this is the day where everyone's going trick-or-treating, carries throughout the movie. For the character of Loomis, I absolutely love him in this movie, and he has some great lines in this one as well. He is still the kind of the protector. He's there to kind of warn everybody about Michael Myers, but he has some great scenes and especially some great lines.
You're talking about him as if he were a human being. That part of him died years ago.
I love stuff like that. I love lines like that, especially with Donald Pleasence. He kind of gives a big presence to the role as well. He really ups the factor of it. There are also a lot of great action sequences in this movie that I really liked. One in particular is Rachel and Jamie. They're being chased by Myers and they make it up to the roof of the house. Now for me, if you want to see how you direct a movie and create suspense and tension, watch this scene. At the start of that scene, Myers, he's not even on the roof with them. It's pretty much just Rachel and Jamie trying their best to stay on the roof and not slide off. Bit by bit, that does build the suspense. Once they finally kind of get their footing, then you introduce Myers. So now he's on the roof with them, and it's kind of a back and forth with him trying to knock them off the roof or just stab them in general. But it's a great scene, it really builds tension, and you don't really know as well if Rachel is going to live or die, because Jamie is the main character in this one, so you could see her being expendable. So that definitely ramps up the suspense on top of it. Even in one part of the movie, Loomis is at a gas station which blows up, and you're seeing Dr. Loomis jump over stuff, have these big action sequences, which you definitely didn't see in any of the other Halloween movies beforehand. I did also really like the kills in this one. Now for me, look guys, this is not on par with the original movie. Surprisingly, this would not be one of my favourite Halloween movies of all time, but I do like the kills. For me, if you can't compete with the original movie, you might as well up the body count and give fans what they want. My absolute favourite kill in this movie is one of the characters. She gets impaled with a shotgun, but I just love the build up to that scene. So she kind of comes downstairs. There is a policeman there kind of who's guarding the house, who's watching out for Myers. Little does she know Myers has killed him, but he's just sitting there with the gun pretending to be the policeman. Now that's what I love about Myers. If you watch any of the Halloween movies, you will see he likes to play little tricks on people. And he definitely does that here. You know, she believes this is the policeman who's there to protect her. When she finds the guard's body, you know, Myers gets up and he impales her with a shotgun into the wall. Kills like that are great in the Halloween series. We also have Brady, Rachel's boyfriend, who tries to defend her and Jamie, but instead pretty much just gets his head crushed. It was cool to see a kill with Michael not using any weapons and just his bare hands. And Michael's quite smart in this movie, you know, he definitely thinks about things he's going to do. At one point, you know, he kind of kills this electrician guy. He throws him into, like, I suppose, a pylon and cuts the electricity throughout the town of Haddonfield. So I like stuff like that, where he's not this kind of zombie guy we get in Halloween 2. He instead is thinking about what he's doing and he's setting things in motion. And my last positive, guys, with this film is the ending of the movie. For me, this is one of the best endings in any horror movie I've ever seen. It is such a twist ending and it is so smart. So we have Jamie Lloyd, you know, her, Rachel and Loomis, they've all made it through the night. They have survived. Myers has been killed. At the last scene of the movie, we find out Jamie has now kind of gotten the curse that Myers has, and she goes upstairs and she murders her mother in the bathroom. Now, for me, that scene is a great scene. It's a great twist, but what makes that scene is Dr. Loomis's reaction and Donald Pleasant's performance when he sees what happens. You know, there's a moment there where you see in his eyes that he cannot believe it's happened, and he grabs his gun to shoot Jamie. He gets stopped, of course, before the movie ends, but just his scream that you hear as the film draws to a close, the look in his eyes, you know, evil hasn't been defeated and it's going to start all over again, is phenomenal. That sells the entire movie for me. Now, talking about the negatives in this movie, and there are definitely negatives. As I said, this is not one of my top 3, 4, 5 favourite Halloween movie. It's definitely in the middle ground for me. You know, it's not one of the worst at all, but I wouldn't put it top tier at the same time. The one thing I hate with this movie is the mask and just Michael Myers himself in general. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one because I absolutely love the actor who plays Myers, because he plays him in Halloween 6, and that's one of my favourite Michael Myers performances. However, his performance in Halloween 4 for me is probably the worst Myers we've ever gotten, maybe besides Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I hate Myers in this movie. I despise the mask. It looks nothing like the original one and it just looks really lazy. As well as that, just the way Myers looks, how they built him up. He has these big, huge shoulders. He also doesn't look like a character in this one to me. He looks more like a stuntman, you know? You don't see him as Michael Myers, you just kind of see him as this killer that's coming to kill everyone in town. He doesn't have any character traits at all. When you look back at the first movie, you definitely see that. With this one, I just don't think you see it a lot. I'm also not a fan of the townspeople in this one, so there's kind of a side story as well where the entire police station essentially gets killed by Myers, and it's up to a few townspeople in Haddonfield to take Myers out. I did not like any of that at all. I thought it was quite silly, to be honest. You know, they came across as kind of just hicks more than anything else, and it just didn't add anything to the story. It kind of made it less and less believable. Like, I liked in Halloween 2 when a lot of the townspeople went to the Myers house and started smashing it up. To me, that was believable. In this one, just their characterizations, they're not great characters. You know, when they get killed towards the end of the movie, I was delighted just to get rid of him, and I wanted to forget about him. I also wasn't a huge fan of the opening scene of this film. Now, I did like the character that kind of brought them down and explained what happened in the first 2 movies to them, you know, especially because Halloween 3 didn't have Myers in it. It was just a good little recap of the first 2 movies. So I did like him in it, but just the way the whole thing looked, it looked really cheap to me. It looked like they were on a small little set, and just the colours in the room, they had red lights and blue lights, and it just didn't work for me at all. As well as that, just Myers with the bandages over his face. I do like that look. I actually like that more than Myers' mask in this, but it just came across as silly. I was kind of like, you know, 10 years later, why are there still bandages on his face? It didn't really make a lot of sense at all. His escape was good, I liked the escape, but again, we cut to Jamie Lloyd where we're introduced to her to start in that movie, and that whole opening sequence of her looks terrible because of the mask and how Myers moves. Again, he just looks like a stuntman, he doesn't look like an actor. And that is really unfortunate because George P. Wilbur, who plays him in Halloween 6, does such a phenomenal job with his version of Myers in that movie. Just it doesn't hold up in this one at all. But guys, that is just my review of Halloween 4. It's a bit of a mixed bag for me, it always has been. I saw it when I was younger and I did definitely like the movie, but it's not one that stuck with me the way it has with a lot of other people. People absolutely love Halloween 4 and I've never really seen it. I do definitely think it's the best of the Torn trilogy, but for me, it doesn't rate compared to the other kind of classic movies in the series. But guys, if you like this movie, if you like Halloween 4 and you love Jamie Lloyd, let me know everything you like about Halloween 4 in the comments below. If you're like me and you're a little bit iffy about this movie, let me know that also. As always guys, subscribe to the channel, especially if you like the Halloween movies, as I will be covering all of them in this series. But until next time, Heidi ho.